You have a vision. There's no organization in the world that will meet the need that you plan to meet. You will change the world. I'm here to tell you how to make sure that you do it legally. Okay, today we're talking nonprofits. We just had Giving Tuesday. We want to make sure your organization and your nonprofit is ready to go so that you can garner that money, get some momentum, and change the world. Before we start with the steps of creating and keeping your nonprofit compliant, I want to make sure that you understand the benefit of having a nonprofit that's registered properly. Not only is it beneficial for you as the director because you'll receive tax benefits and exemptions, it's also beneficial for the donors, for your patrons, for the people who will be giving money towards your movement, towards your cause, because they themselves can also write off their giving as tax deductions. So you want to keep that in mind. Also, it's really great because as a nonprofit, as a registered and recognized nonprofit, you can go on to apply for grants, for other funding, and you can be recognized within the community without any type of question marks. We don't really like question marks. I don't like question marks. I like to know what I'm giving to. Okay, I'm going to walk you through 6 steps by which you can develop your organization, this wonderful nonprofit. The first thing that you'll want to do, first step, you'll want to reserve your name. There are so many organizations out there. There's so many names out there. You want to make sure, of course, just like a business, that yours is set apart, that your brand is specific, okay? Go to IRS.GOV, okay, and do a name search. If that name search or doesn't result in anything, if no one else has that name, cool. You'll want to do and request an inquiry letter, okay? Once you get that inquiry letter from the IRS, you'll want to take that inquiry letter and file it in about 3 different places. Some people decide to file it in 3 different counties. In doing so, you have made the world known or published to the world that, hey, this is my organization, don't take it. It's mine. This process usually takes about 2 to 3 months. That includes the name search, getting the letter in the mail, and then also filing that inquiry letter in 3 different places. And the cost, it depends on the counties in which you're filing or the municipalities. Some places charge $10, some places charge as much as $20. So I think generally it should cost around $25 to $40, but again, it depends on where you live and the cost for those filing fees. The second thing you'll want to do is create, develop, engage a board of directors. I would consider the people in my community who have something to offer to my organization. So that means if someone is really good at fundraising, if someone is well connected and really good and knows venues within my community, if someone is really good with graphic design, if someone's really good with finance, if someone's good with law, if someone is good with connecting to my demographic that I'm trying to cater to, if someone has international outreach, you'll want to have a diverse board, someone or a group of people who bring just about everything you need to your organization, and someone who will, a board who will make sure that your work is getting done, that you're doing the most good. And sometimes that can mean that they don't necessarily agree with everything you do. And so that's a good thing. It means that there's time for collaboration, but always keep in mind that you want outreach, you want compliance, and you just want the best for your organization. So think of those people, reach out to people and ask them, would they be part or members of your board of directors? Get that started. That's your second step. Your third step would be to draft and file articles of incorporation. Okay, the articles of incorporation can be rejected if you don't file them properly, if they don't meet the standards of your Secretary of State. Okay, so what is included in that? It's usually the purpose of your organization. Always it's the address of a registered agent. So this is the person, the address, where if there is a legal issue, if there's someone who needs to contact your organization, business inquiries, mailing, all of that stuff. If someone needs to contact your organization via mail, this is the person and this is the address by which they do it. And so you'll have a registered agent. You'll need to identify the classes, the different classes of directors and incorporators, the conduct of the meetings. You'll also need to identify the duties of officers. It's a lot. Okay, everything from licenses to the reservation number of the IRS. And you also need to include a cover letter that addresses the Secretary of State needs. I know I just listed a lot. I'm sorry if I overwhelmed anyone, but this is why you need an attorney, because again, these articles of incorporation can be rejected, okay? And even if they're not, you don't want to do something where you're stuck in a sticky situation while you're creating your organization, and then later find that you needed something in your articles of incorporation to protect yourself, your directors, and ultimately your nonprofit, okay? I'm all about preventative work. Let's not wait till something goes crazy to make sure that everything is compliant. So articles of incorporation, make sure you handle that. The timeline for this is about 2 to 4 weeks. And the filing fees, again, will depend on where you're filing. But usually there's a cover letter involved. That cover letter can cost about $35. And usually what you want to do after you file, or when you file your articles of incorporation, you'll want to submit a request for a certified copy. So this is basically giving, a stamp that says, congratulations, you're good to go, you received it. The fourth step, you'll want to draft and file your bylaws. Anyone who has seen them Fighting Temptations knows how funny the word bylaws is, okay? Because in the story, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You're here for nonprofits and not for a wonderful rom-com that features Beyonce and gospel music, and it's fantastic. But anyway, in the movie, there's a disgruntled aunt who basically is in charge of the church and the choir. Everything's not going her way, and so she tries to be, manipulative or whatever. Anyway, she gets angry and she says, it's in the bylaws!
I also suppose you plan on enforcing the rules in the bylaws that says all members of the choir must be baptized and take Bible study classes.
And so every time I hear bylaws, that's what I think. I say all that to say bylaws can be a pain in the butt, just like that auntie in the church was. It includes, but is not limited to, listing the board of directors, what type of membership structure you're going to have, what type of regular meetings, annual meetings. It's going to list your fiscal calendar. It's going to talk about compensation, who of the officers get paid and who do not, how much, and how much for each role. It's going to talk about the type of corporation. It's also going to list corporate certificates, corporate seals, a lot of other really boring but important logistical operational stuff. This is like the execution of how you do what you do. So it's really important you talk to an attorney so that you can get your bylaws straight. It's in the bylaws! Okay, anyway, I'm chilling. The next thing that you'll want to do is you'll want to get your employee identification number for grants, okay? This is when you can get into the money. This is when you can get your funding. This is when, Tom Joyner or someone on the radio says, hey, do you know a nonprofit who deserves da-da-da? If you get your EIN for grants, you can legally receive grants. It's one of the less tedious parts of the process. And so if you visit IRS.GOV, you'll go back. I know step 1, you reserve your name. We're on step 5 now. Go to IRS.GOV and fill out the SS4 form, okay? This form is free, and usually it takes about 2 to 4 weeks in order for you to get an EIN for your nonprofit. One of the final steps for developing your nonprofit is to fill out and file your 1023 Easy Tax form. This form gives you tax exemptions. So we already have, with the employee identification number, we can get grants. But with this, we enjoy tax exemptions, okay? If you haven't seen the business entities, which business entity is right for me video, please feel free to go watch. But we discussed in that video double taxation. We discuss how businesses are taxed. And so nonprofits can indeed be corporations and vice versa. But with that tax exempt status, with the 501c3 status, your organization enjoys tax exemptions. It's wonderful. And again, your donors and patrons, people who give to you every month, every year, during Giving Tuesday, they enjoy tax deductions. This process is tedious. It's the longest process. It's the most expensive part of the process. Now what you do is you take that easy form. You'll take that 1023 easy tax form. You'll supplement it with your articles of incorporation. So remember that certified copy of articles of incorporation that we requested. You'll want to supplement your tax form with that. You also want to supplement it with your bylaws and anything else you receive from the IRS, anything else, okay? You'll want to submit all of this to the IRS. And there are, of course, more specifications that the IRS wants from you, but this is generally what you include. You'll want to file all of this within 27 months of the receipt date of your certified copy of Articles of Incorporation. So that was step 3. You received that in the mail. Make sure you put on a timeline on a calendar. I got 27 months to file all this. Again, this is a part where you'll need an attorney because that tax form is lengthy. It's the worst part. It's the most expensive part. It's the lengthiest part, in my opinion. It's just a lot. So you'll want to meet with a tax lawyer or someone who's well-versed in business matters, but that's what you'll want to do, okay? This process can cost you about $400, okay? And it can be about a 3 to 8 month process. It just depends on how quickly the IRS is moving. It depends on the backlog. So you'll want to allot time for this before you start operating and become this full-fledged nonprofit, before you announce to the mountaintops, hey guys, I have this cause, I have this nonprofit. Make sure this is done, okay? So we're looking at about anywhere from a year to create legally, keyword legally, your nonprofit, okay? What can you expect? After you file all of this with the IRS, after you've done all of these steps, honey, oh my God. After you do all of these steps, what you can expect is that the government will grant you the 501c3 status, which, yay, so exciting. You are a nonprofit, get your grants, get your money, get your scholarship, change the world, you know, do your thing. Or they'll deny it, they'll reject it. Did you talk to an attorney? Because I feel like you didn't. Or one of the last options is that they'll request more information. They'll request more evidence. I gave you general information, but there are specific things that the IRS and that the Secretary of State and that your nonprofit need in order to be legit. And so it's really important that you consult with someone who can give you advice. If this video is helpful to you, or you know it will be helpful to someone else, please share. You can like and subscribe. I feel like that's an obligatory thing to say. But yes, I wish you all well in all of your advocacy. You are needed. Bye.